Poor Memory by Annie Besant, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Poor memory. In order that we may clearly understand what lies at the root of poor memory, we must examine the mental processes which go to make up what is called memory. Although in many psychological books memory is spoken of as a mental faculty, there is really no one faculty to which that name should be given. The persistence of a mental image is not due to any special faculty, but belongs to the general quality of the mind. A feeble mind is feeble in persistence, as in all else, and, like a substance too fluid to retain the shape of the mould into which it has been poured, falls quickly out of the form that it has taken. Where the mental body is little organised, is a mere loose aggregate of molecules of mind stuff, a cloud-like mass without much coherence, memory will certainly be very weak. But this weakness is general, not special. It is common to the whole mind and is due to its low stage of evolution. As the mental body becomes organised and the powers of the jiva work on it, we yet often find what is called a poor memory. But if we observe this poor memory, we shall find that it is not faulty in all respects, that there are some things which are well remembered and which the mind retains without effort. If we then examine these remembered things, we shall find that they are things which greatly attract the mind, that the things that are much liked are not forgotten. I have known a woman complain of a poor memory with respect to matters that were being studied, while I have observed in her a very retentive memory with regard to the details of a dress that she admired. Her mental body was not lacking in a fair amount of retentiveness, and when she observed carefully and attentively, producing a clear mental image, the image was fairly long-lived. Here we have the key to poor memory. It is due to lack of attention, to lack of accurate observation, and therefore to confused thought. Confused thought is the blurred impression caused by careless observation and lack of attention, while clear thought is the sharply cut impression due to concentrated attention and careful, accurate observation. We do not remember the things to which we pay little heed, but we remember well the things that keenly interest us. How then should a poor memory be treated? First, the things should be noticed with regard to which it is poor and with regard to which it is good, so as to estimate the general quality of adhesiveness. Then the things with regard to which it is poor should be scrutinized in order to see if they are worth remembering and if they are things for which we do not care. If we find that we care little for them, but that in our best moments we feel we ought to care for them, then we should say to ourselves, I will pay attention to them, will observe them accurately, and will think carefully and steadily on them. Doing this, we shall find that our memory improves. For, as said above, memory is really dependent on attention, accurate observation, and clear thought. The element of attention is valuable as fixing the attention. But if that be not present, its place must be taken by the will. Now, it is just here that a definite and widely felt difficulty arises. How can the will take the place of the attraction? What is to move the will itself? Attraction arouses desire, and desire impels the moving towards the attracted object. This is, in the case supposed, absent. How is this absence of desire to be made good by the will? The will is the force prompting action when that force is determined in its direction by deliberate reason, and not by the influence of external objects felt as attractive. When the impulse to action, that which I have often called the outgoing energy of the self, is motivated by external objects, is drawn forth, we call the impulse desire. When it is motivated by pure reason, is sent forth, we call it will. What is needed then, in the absence of felt attraction from without, is illumination from within. and the motive for the will must be obtained by an intellectual survey of the field and an exercise of the judgment as to the highest good, the goal of effort. That which the reason selects as the most conducive to the good of the self serves as motive to the will. And when this has once been definitely done, then in moments of lassitude, of weakness, the recalling of the train of thought which led to the choice again stimulates the will. Such a thing, deliberately chosen, may then be rendered attractive, i.e., an object of desire, by setting the imagination to picture its pleasing qualities, the beneficial happiness-giving effects of its possession. But as he who wills an object wills the means, we become able to overcome the natural shrinking from effort and unpleasant discipline by an exercise thus motivated of the will. In the case under consideration, having determined that certain objects are eminently desirable as conducive to prolonged happiness, we will set the will to work to carry out the activities which will lead to their obtaining. In cultivating the power of observation, as in everything else, a little practice repeated daily is much more effective than a great effort followed by a period of inaction. We should set ourselves a little daily task of observing a thing carefully, imagining it in the mind in all its details, keeping the mind fixed on it for a short time, as the physical eye might be fixed on an object. On the following day, we should call up the image, reproducing it as accurately as we can, and should then compare it with the object and observe any inaccuracies. If we gave 5 minutes a day to this practice, alternately observing an object and picturing it in the mind, and recalling the previous day's image and comparing our picture with the object, we should improve our memory very rapidly, and we should really be improving our powers of observation, of attention, of imagination, of concentration. In fact, we should be organising the mental body and fitting it far more rapidly than nature will fit it without assistance to discharge its functions effectively and usefully. No man can take up such a practice as this and remain unaffected by it, and he will soon have the satisfaction of knowing that his powers have increased and that they have come much more under the control of the will. The artificial ways of improving memory present things to the mind in an attractive form, or associate with such a form the things to be remembered. If a person visualizes easily, he will aid a poor memory by constructing a picture and attaching to points in that picture the things he wants to remember. Then the calling up of the picture brings up also the things that were to be remembered. Other people, in whom the auditory power is dominant, remember by the jingle of rhymes and, for instance, the weave of a series of dates or other unattractive facts into verses that stick in the mind. But far better than any of these is the rational method detailed above, by the use of which the mind-body becomes better organised and more coherent as to its materials.